gentlemen, a very good evening and welcome to Newsnight. Tonight, we are diving into a diplomatic showdown that's been months in the making. The very first face-to-face meeting between India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Bangladesh's interim leader, Mohammad Yunus, since the very dramatic ouster of Sheikh Hasina. The setting, the BIMSTEC summit in Bangkok, the stakes, sky high. The pictures already up on your screens. These pictures, where you can clearly see Narendra Modi steely-eyed. He is forward-focused. We'll in fact change to another picture where you'll see a lot of these body movements and the gestures very clearly. And when you see Yunus, he's actually flashing a smile. That's the picture we are talking about. Later, he's also seen handing over a nostalgic snapshot from 2015. That's the picture. And this is when Narendra Modi himself awarded him a gold medal at the Indian Science Congress. A personal gesture, yes, but do not be fooled. Because this, ladies and gentlemen, was no warm reunion. Reports say that Narendra Modi already has read Yunus, the riot act. He is calling out the attacks on minorities, border security lapses, and inflammatory rhetoric all against India, against Bharat. Echoing the Ministry of External Affairs' very stern words today about ensuring Hindu safety in Bangladesh. But can Yunus be trusted to even deliver? Who can trust him? His very recent provocations in China, pitching Bangladesh as a gateway for Beijing's ambitions, have already raised eyebrows in New Delhi. And then there was Trump, very casually just tossing Bangladesh literally into Modi's lap, saying that he is leaving this to Narendra Modi. Listen in.
He once again underlined to Professor Yunus India's desire to forge a positive and constructive relationship with Bangladesh. Prime Minister also urged in this regard that any rhetoric that vitiates the environment is best avoided.
7 states of India, eastern part of India, called Seven Sisters. They are landlocked country, landlocked region of India. They have no way to reach out to the ocean. We are the only guardian of the ocean for all this region. So this opens up a huge possibility. So this could be an extension of the Chinese economy. Build things, produce things, market things, bring things to China, bring it out to the whole rest of the world.
There was no role for our deep state. It was. This is something that the Prime Minister has been working on for a long time and has been worked on for hundreds of years, frankly. I've been reading about it. But I will leave Bangladesh to the Prime Minister.
So what are the straight questions we must raise? Let's bring up the first one. That's going to go up on your screens. Will Yunus even allow an early election in Bangladesh? Do remember, he's being saying at the soonest. But what is the soonest? Would it be this year? Would it be early next year? No one knows. But it is important in Bangladesh to have democracy. That's also what India today has stressed upon. The second straight question, will Yunus change the course as Narendra Modi now has read the riot act? Is there going to be any changing of the way he behaves, the way he talks, the way he sees? Does he even want the hand of friendship with India? We do not know, but that's a question we must ask. This brings us to our third straight question, ladies and gentlemen. Will Bangladesh be able to tackle radical Islamists that are in its own soil? Will it be able to punish them? Exactly what India wants, exactly what Narendra Modi earlier today has said. This brings us to our next straight question. Will Yunus keep using the China and the Pakistan card to cling to power? Is he going to be as blatant as that? This is something, again, that we will know only over the course of time. And our final straight question, that in case Yunus continues to persist with his anti-India rhetoric, what are the options on the table? What is it that New Delhi can do? Because clearly New Delhi has decided not just to read the riot act, but it is also hoping that Yunus will change. Will that happen or not? Again, that is anyone's guess. But let's understand the issue before I open this up for a conversation with a panel of guests and experts asking all these questions. This is also time for Newsnight's Deep Dive. Now, what really is the problem when it comes to Mohammed Yunus? And what really have been his utterances? What have been his provocations? This is important to know if you want to see the big picture. So let's open this up. On your screens now are multiple provocations by the man called Mohammed Yunus. And if you look at who's in his side, you will see China, you will see Pakistan, the usual irritants. And he's been cozying up to India's adversaries. Now, Prime Minister Modi multiple times has made it very clear that we are for a democratic arrangement in Bangladesh. But will that happen or not? We still do not know. But the first provocation that you see on your screens is about the comment that he had made about the Northeast getting quote-unquote landlocked. A very, very serious but a very provocative comment that has been made by him. And he said that India's Northeast states are landlocked. The idea then was to try and say that let's have Bangladesh as their ocean gateway. Something that you have seen New Delhi responding to very, very sternly. This is a comment that he made when he was in China in the March of 2025. Let's bring up our next provocation again that we have seen from the man called Mohammed Yunus. This is about the China pitch. China, again, is a good weather friend when it comes to Mohammed Yunus. He's urged China literally to expand the economic influence via Bangladesh. And this is also about the Bay of Bengal, because he has been essentially trying to say that you can have a larger axis that involves both Bangladesh and China, something again that has worried New Delhi, and people have already taken note of all this. And that is also the next detail that you will see going up on your screens about the quote-unquote ocean garden. Now, Mohammed Yunus has claimed that Bangladesh is in fact the guardian, the sole guardian of the Bay of Bengal. Obviously trying to say that we are those who will call the shots, we are the one who will possibly be doing everything there. Something again, a comment that many say has not been taken kindly here, and something again that is reflective of the kind of game plan that Mohammed Yunus has and whether he's being used as a puppet. This brings us to our next big provocation again that you will see on your screens. This is about the minorities under attack in Bangladesh. Now, who are the minorities? The Hindus. And we've seen dramatic images, worrying images of the Hindus under attack, of the Hindu temples getting attacked. And when India, ladies and gentlemen, has raised this entire issue, what were they told? This is exaggerated. We do not believe this. This is a part of a propaganda. So he's dismissed all such reports. And he essentially has been trying to say that all is well and everything is under control. But we've seen New Delhi, we've seen the Prime Minister also today raising this entire issue. And these are the reasons why you can't trust him. But right now, I want to take some minutes to look at this picture. Now, when you see this picture, what is the first thing that you notice? Possibly nothing unless you zoom in, and that's exactly what Newsnight will help you do. This is Mohammed Yunus handing over a picture to Narendra Modi. But what is this picture all about? So we zoom in, and this is a picture of the moment when he was being awarded a gold medal by Narendra Modi himself. So he gives his very own picture, a throwback picture to Narendra Modi. What kind of a strategy is this? And an old picture, an old frame. But clearly, this is a new India. This is a new India that has its own red lines. This is a new India that says we are not going to be accepting the attack against the minorities. And you need to stop with your anti-India rhetoric. So just this picture will tell you whether it is possible still to trust the man called Mohammed Yunus. Clearly, a lot of stories, a lot of angles to this, and like they say, body language at times also gives away a lot of that story. Let's quickly introduce our panel of guests on the show. It's a pleasure to have Faisal Mahmoodji, who's the Press Minister of the Bangladesh High Commission, who joins us, along with Supriya Srinath, who's the National Spokesperson of the Congress Party. Dr. Tara Kartha is a region watcher, and she, I am sure, has a very strong opinion on what's really going on. She's a former director at the National Security Council Secretariat. It's also a pleasure to have Abhijit Iyer Mitra, who's a political analyst on the show. And we must tell our viewers that the BJP, the Bharatiya Janata Party, decided to not participate in the debate at the last moment. We do not know why. But there are strict, obvious, direct questions that have to be asked to everyone. And I want to take the first question to Faisal Mahmoodji. Now, Faisal Mahmoodji, tell me something. Is Mohammed Yunus even serious about a good, deep relationship with India? Is he willing to listen to India? Would, those responsible for all the attacks against the minorities that are the Hindus in Bangladesh, would you arrest them? Will they be prosecuted?
Thank you. The very fact that the meeting between Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Chief Advisor Dr. Mohammad Yunus has taken place is a reassuring thing for the two countries' bilateral relationship. Because, for the past few months, we are not being confirmed like whether the meeting would have taken place ultimately, but it had taken place. So now, when you look at the agenda of that 40-minute long meeting, you see that Prime Minister Narendra Modi has raised some issues which concerns Hindu minority and the Hindu safety in Bangladesh. And our chief advisor also has raised some issues as well, like, border killings and the water sharing treaty of Tista. So these are like the host of issues which the two countries have been discussing for a long time. But the minority attacks and the issue of, attack on Hindus has come to the fore after August 5th, after the ousting of Sheikh Hasina. But if you look at the statistics of, in the past few years, I can guarantee you that, let me give you some statistics. Like in the past 3 months, the recorded attacks on minorities is less than 50. And I think...
No, Faisalji, don't sit on the show here and justify this. If that is what you're doing, be upfront about it. And say that Bangladesh is not willing to accept that there has been a spike in the attack against the minorities. Why can't Mohammad Yunus say that to Narendra Modi when they are meeting then? This clearly tells us that you are not going to be mending your ways.
So that you can make your own judgment.
Are you telling me that come what may, Mohammad Yunus is not mending his ways? You will continue with your anti-India rhetoric. You will continue to use both China and Pakistan.
Your TV and the Indian media as a whole has stopped. Sorry, let me finish. I mean, Indian media as a whole, including your TV, has stopped publishing news about minority attacks in Bangladesh because in the past few months, the attacks are not taking place. I understand that after August 5th, for a period of 3 or 4 months, like the initial period, there were attacks. And the government has taken due process to make sure that those attacks are not going to be repeated. So I don't think in the past 3 or 4 months, the Indian media has anything has made any claim that the attacks are continuing, right?
No, have you persecuted people? Can you give me the data of how many people have been persecuted? It's the same Mohammad Yunus, Abhijit. Why don't you come in here who actually said that, nothing like this is even happening. This is propaganda. Much like what you hear from a Bangladeshi.
He used the word exaggerated.
Yes.
And the word itself, and it's a pretty self-defining word, exaggerated. Like when there is a statistic which is a fact, and you are inflating the statistics,
you can use it as per your convenience.
Right?
You can use it as per your convenience. On our screens now, we'll also show those images that have come in from Bangladesh.
I'm just saying that he said exaggerated.
Then Faisal, tell me if that makes you proud. Narendra Modi today has also said that we must have democracy back in Bangladesh. Tell me, are you willing to have elections in Bangladesh and how soon? How soon, Faisal?
Let me talk. On that note, I can guarantee you that we have addressed the concern of Narendra Modi ji, because he said that he wants democracy back in Bangladesh. After August 5th, democracy has gotten back in Bangladesh, because before that it was an autocratic regime of Sheikh Hasina. So we have already addressed the concern of...
Where is democracy in Bangladesh right now? He's not an elected leader, right?
No, he is running a government which is formed after an ousting of an autocratic leader.
I quickly want Abhijit now to come in here. Abhijit, your take on what you've just heard from Faisal, and should we be hopeful? Are we giving Bangladesh too long a rope?
Honestly, I'm really surprised that a bureaucrat is taking a political line like this. Remember, Sheikh Hasina won an election fair and square. If they're so confident if the current government is so confident of winning, why aren't they holding the elections? Really, what's the problem? The infrastructure is in place. You see, the issue here is very simple. Our man Mohammad Yunus is a puppet. He's never had any political following. He's never had any political depth or political groundswell. The real people backing this, even the students were, the mask of the protest. The real backing was the Jamaat-e-Islami, who were the Razakars under the Pakistan army, who, remember, at that time also in 1971 were blaming Hindus, carried out a complete Hindu genocide, and went around killing Hindus at that point of time. Right. This Jamaat-e-Islami are the same people in a different form. The other people involved in that were the BNP, Khaleda Zia's party. Please show me any history of Mr. Mohammed Yunus having any kind of ground support or grounds. He is not in control of the government. We need to understand this. Second, when we're talking about exaggeration, sorry, what exactly is exaggeration? Is 2% exaggeration? Is 4% exaggeration? 10% exaggeration? 15% exaggeration? In some cases, you can say even 1% is exaggeration. There have been documented
That is true.
cases.
1% is exaggeration, right? Exaggeration is exaggeration.
Faisal,
I didn't interrupt you. I was
let
very
him please
appreciative
complete
of
his
your
point. Let him complete his point. I will also then get in Supriya and Tara both into this. Abhijit, quickly, 10 seconds.
So you see, we are seeing a very consistent pattern. This is a man who is not in charge, who is not going to be in charge for much longer because he's growing unpopular by the day. He's seeing the ground slipping under his feet. He knows if he holds elections, he and his government have become so unpopular already. Sheikh Hasina is probably going to win a landslide.
Yes.
That is why they're never going to hold elections.
Okay. Now, I want to get into Supriya quickly.
Sorry, can I
I guarantee
Abhijit,
I guarantee
I want to get both the
the
ladies.
same
They haven't
candidates
spoken yet.
once.
Please, let me hear what Supriya has to say. Now, Supriya, would you side by the government when the government says that, okay, this is our opportunity to engage with him, to give him an equal opportunity, to read the Riot Act, and then see what Bangladesh does? Are you with the government on this thought? You'll have to unmute yourself, Supriya.
It's a good evening to you, the fellow panelists, and also to the viewers. It's unfortunate that the BJP is not here because I would rather debate with the politicians than with experts here on the show. But having said that, I think this is a matter, the meeting that took place between my Prime Minister and Bangladesh's Chief Advisor is a matter of great sensitivity, as foreign policy is. And so I'm going to keep my comments rather restrained. I'm actually worried tonight, and worried for a reason. Is this meeting happening under pressure? Because unlike what you're saying, you've used a few words, the experts here have used a few words. You've said Riot Act some 10 times since the beginning of the show. But when I hear Vikram Misri, India's foreign secretary, or when I read the Prime Minister's tweets, or when I see the press releases that are coming from the MEA, none of them say that he's read the Riot Act. They actually sound rather conciliatory that, they are supporting peace and stability. And yes, he's rightfully asking for democracy to return to Bangladesh. He's, of course, worried about the treatment being meted out in the Hindus, as he should be. But nowhere does this even allude once to some of the bombshells that you spoke about. It does not, for instance, raise questions on, did he ask Mr. Yunus, why did you say that about our seven sisters? Why did you say that about China in reference to our northeastern states? It does not talk about, the whole Bay of Bengal being the sole guardian. I mean, how dare they? So these things leave me a little worried. And I'll tell you why I'm worried tonight. I'm worried tonight because, like it's being said here, he's a puppet. He's not going to get re-elected. For all you know, he may not. But then why is the Prime Minister? Is the Prime Minister under pressure? I am worried about that because the Prime Minister knows how strained our ties with China is. The Prime Minister knows that we've still not avenged the supreme sacrifice of 20 of our brave hearts. And still the Foreign Minister and the Chinese Ambassador are cutting cake together. The Prime Minister and the Commerce Ministry have not spoken a word, not a squeak on the 26% tariff, that 27% tariff that has been slapped on India. So I'm a little worried. Is he under some sort of pressure, as any proud Indian would be? I wish the BJP was here. And I have one last point to make. Yes. And because there's no politician on the show, you'll have to excuse me after this. The last point I want to make here, Deepthi, is that the Prime Minister's constituency back home in India, his party, his battery of, trolls who exist on social media have had very different things to say about Bangladesh and Yunus. And here you see a different kind of a bonhomie. Here you see the two men smiling and shaking hands and, exchange of whatever pictures happening. Now, whatever the strategy of Mr. Yunus may be, I don't care about Bangladesh. I care about my country. And which is why I'm worried, because the Prime Minister's core constituency is very much against this meeting. And that is why you don't have the BJP on the panel, because they don't know whether to defend or attack this. So I am worried, is my Prime Minister under pressure? And I think I have every right to be worried about my country and the fate of our foreign policy.
Supriya, you've raised some big points. And clearly, like you said, in the absence of a BJP spokesperson on the show, we clearly can't have answers to that. But the point is that is the Congress now only looking at hitting out at Narendra Modi because this is Modi and this is about politics? Because, you know, if you listen into what you've heard from our Bangladeshi friend, what you're hearing from the opposition here, we do not see much of a difference. And Supriya, I just want to ask you another question, but just 5 seconds.
I take a lot of offense to it. No.
Do you see Mohammad Yunus under pressure?
Deepthi, 1 second.
You see Narendra Modi under pressure, Supriya. Do you see Mohammad Yunus under pressure?
Deepthi, no, 1 second. I take a lot of offense to what you just said. I spoke for about 1.5, 2 minutes. I don't think I remotely sound like the Bangladeshi scholar or bureaucrat or whoever he is on the show. I am worried about my foreign policy. I am worried about my country. I am worried about the fact is my prime minister under pressure.
So can we speak as one, Supriya? Can we speak as one?
I am just saying that. So no, I am absolutely speaking as one. There is nothing that I have said is against Mr. Modi. Everything that I have said, I have called him my prime minister. I've said I'm worried if he's under pressure. I've said he's not spoken on some crucial matters. And I think as Indians, we have to raise this. I'm not a cheerleader here, but I am an Indian. My prime minister is on foreign soil, and I'm going to say nothing which is
and it is not about Modi, Supriya. It's not about Modi. It's about India. It's about us. It is also about Bangladesh. Tell me something. Do you see Mohammad Yunus under pressure?
Don't do that. Don't do the disservice of putting words, attributing
Supriya,
things to me.
Supriya, do you see Mohammad Yunus under any pressure right now?
I don't care about Mohammad Yunus. I don't care about Bangladesh. I care about the fact that this man stood up and spoke about my 7 sisters, my 7 northeastern states. Has he been taken to task for that? Because the Prime Minister's statement, the Foreign Secretary's statement, the MEA press release makes no reference to that.
I'll tell you what, Supriya, then maybe you can read this a little bit more, because the Prime Minister just about yesterday has put out a statement on this. The Foreign Affairs Minister, External Affairs Minister has also put out a statement. But I want to get Tara, Supriya. I'm going to come back to you. Supriya, I'm going to come back to you, please. It is not you versus me. Like I said, this is India and Bangladesh. Like you said, you do not care this is about Narendra Modi or Mohammad Yunus, but this is about a stable foreign policy. Please wait. Supriya, please wait. Supriya, please wait. I want to get in Tara. We are running out of time. Tara, what is the big picture? What is the big picture, Tara? Are you hopeful? Are you hopeful of Mohammad Yunus even listening to India at all?
See, the big picture is Bangladesh is your neighbor. You can't wish it away. Number 2, you have to get along with them. Number 3, this government is being pragmatic in its approach, which is exactly what it should be doing. Bangladesh is going through a huge amount of turbulence. So it's not that you should not add fuel to that fire, which unfortunately social media is doing. I mean, this you have to say. On both sides, the social media has gone crazy. And that is not what we want. Number 4, Yunus, as he grows more and more unpopular, is going to go more and more against India. He's going to make statements which will, boost up his own image, which is extremely unfortunate. I mean, the very fact that he couldn't even, you can't get it. He hasn't got a joint statement from China because he's not an elected leader. There's a joint press release. Right. So there is a lot of problems here with this gentleman. We don't have a problem with Bangladesh per se. We have a problem with Yunus and his gang. I don't think we have a problem because what I see on the ground and what I have examined, our trade is going normally. Our visa procedures are being pulled up because we need to give more visas for medical reasons to people. Much of the threats which were made, we will close down X and Y and Z, has not happened. Things are going along normally. But this gentleman is a problem.
Okay.
Mr. Yunus is a problem. That is
and will we have a solution to that problem? That's exactly what we'll keep our focus on. Only for word of time, Supriya, Tara and both gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us. We'll continue to track that story. Now it's also time for News Night's parting shot. Ladies and gentlemen, Narendra Modi stands firm as Yunus has been cozying up to India's adversaries, is what you have already sensed now. Will he stop his anti-India rhetoric? That is still a question. Do remember, he is very well aware that Bangladesh clings to Bharat when it comes to power, when it comes to rice, when it even comes to cotton. That much is the dependency. A man who's flipped from being an America's puppet to China's pawn. Can you trust him? We began the broadcast by asking that question, and we have to keep asking that question. The road ahead looms stark, where dependency trumps defiance, and India's grip tightens. We'll track that story. Thank you so much for your time, and thank you for watching us tonight. And for the moment, good night.